Hey everyone, the name's Ossy Flawol. Let's talk a little about Portal's iconic protagonist. This is Chell, last name redacted and stricken from the record. You've seen her a lot throughout both Portals, because you play as her. That's how video game protagonists work. Typically, protagonists in video games might have backstories, and some might not. Gordon Freeman is an example of a Valve character with backstory, but that information isn't very easy to come across. This kind of background information is all over the place, whether mentioned in games, manuals, official guides, or just offhandedly by a developer. One thing remains consistent. There's a lot of backstory behind every major character in the Half-Life universe. Even the expansion pack protagonists, like Adrian, Barney, Gina, and Colette, all have backstories and defined characters of their own. What does Chell have for backstory in comparison to our Half-Life universe brethren? Well, you tend to hear a lot of responses and interpretations of what people may think her backstory is, because it's never explicitly laid out. While all these other protagonists have at least something to their name, Chell was the black sheep of the group. She may as well not even have a backstory in the first place. But that doesn't mean I'm not willing to try and find one. People have come up with many interpretations over the years Portal has been around for. Most popular is the idea of Chell being a daughter present at Bring a Daughter to Work Day, leading to her being captured and put into testing. Some people will argue instead that she was an employee at Aperture, or even that somehow, some goddamn how, she is the daughter of Carolyn and Cave Johnson. For this video, we're throwing out all of those ideas. To get to the bottom of this, we won't be looking through what other people say about Chell. We are starting fresh from square one with an open mind. If we want to figure out what backstory Chell may have, we need to comb over what evidence we can find first before constructing one. So, let's not waste any more time. Right into Portal 1 we go, and funnily enough, we don't have to wait long for our very first piece of information. It can actually be found seconds after the player is given control. On the front of her stasis bed, you can read that Chell is Test Subject ID 234. Is this critical to understanding her backstory? No, but it'll be a valuable piece of information to keep in the back pocket for later, so hold on to it. The other very valuable piece of information we can glean early on is from just looking at Chell. Something we need to understand very quickly is that Chell was based off of a real person, Alicia Glidwell. Alicia here is important to take note of because the developers of both games consider Alicia's ethnicities to apply to Chell as well, being that she is a Japanese Brazilian woman. As much as Chell gets whitewashed in later appearances, she is still intended to be that ethnic mix of Brazilian and Japanese, which is important to keep in mind for who her family could be. For most of the game after this, we don't get any new information as GLaDOS rambles on through the test chambers in an effort to keep up the illusion that it's all pre-recorded messages. There's no Chell lore here. The reason why soon becomes very clear, as Portal has slowly been loading a shotgun blast of lore in the background to hit us with the moment we escape into the backstage of Aperture. Remember how I told you to keep in mind Chell's ID being 234? Well, the office spaces here have clipboards laying all around the place showing a test subject profile of that exact ID. Unfortunately, we can't read any of it because it's so low resolution, but it's interesting to see nonetheless. Hey, just cutting in before anyone says anything, Portal RTX makes the clipboard actually readable, but it's completely wrong because the person at NVIDIA who made this didn't know this was meant to be Chell. The real juicy information during this whole section actually comes from GLaDOS herself, as she's dropped the whole pre-recorded act. See, we know that GLaDOS has a habit to lie, but what's important to note about Portal 1 GLaDOS is that she prods at people where she knows it will hit them the most. We actually can examine this behavior by looking at her interactions with Doug Ratman in the Lab Rat comic. Rather than her typical behavior, GLaDOS here is more focused on gaslighting Doug's schizophrenia. It's an interesting contrast to how she talks down to Chell. This has to mean that somewhere in GLaDOS' dialogue throughout Portal's escape sequence, there are some truths about Chell hidden throughout. After poking through all the lines, I believe I've isolated some good samples here. Let's go through each set.
You're not a good person. You know that, right?
Good people don't end up here.
These lines are very interesting to me because GLaDOS doesn't tend to make accusations about Chell's behavior until she's actively breaking through the facility. The most interesting part of it is the line of, "Good people don't end up here." While this line clearly is a reference to Chell escaping the testing track, we could interpret it in several other ways, such as it possibly referring to Chell not being a good person ending up in Aperture Science. We're noting this one down, but I may not have a use for it as of right now.
It says so right here in your personnel file. Unlikable, liked by no one. A bitter, unlikable loner whose passing shall not be mourned, shall not be mourned. That's exactly what it says. Very formal, very official. It also says you were adopted, so that's funny too.
And that right there is the very first time the notion of Chell being adopted gets mentioned. What's interesting to note is that this is one of the classic GLaDOS half-truths. What she's saying is very obviously not real and just to insult Chell, but it's based on something. That is to say, I don't think Chell genuinely has unlikable written in her file. What I do think might be true is that GLaDOS is saying that based off of something in her file. What I believe she's referring to is the no friends part. Chell strikes me very much as a lone wolf type character, someone without a proper support base to rely on. I think it may be possible that Chell doesn't have anyone, family, friend, partner, or otherwise, which GLaDOS is feeding into by calling her unlikable. She's trying to strike at a vulnerability of Chell's character. This has some capital I implications for Chell's character, so we're noting it down too. That should just about wrap up what we could find in the first Portal game. Overall, there's not much here to survey when it comes to Chell, but that's okay, because Portal 1 is the appetizer, Portal 2 is the real meat and sentient potatoes. But before we move on to Portal 2 itself, there's another piece of media we need to cover, being the Lab Rat comic. If you've clicked on a video trying to analyze Portal lore like this one and haven't heard of this comic before, I'm very concerned about how long you've been under that rock for. Anyways, quick summary. Lab Rat is about Doug Ratman and essentially covers events from all across the Portal timeline, with its ending tying into Portal 2's beginning. That is all to say, the events of the plot are not so relevant, as Chell appears quite a bit through this. The first thing people will immediately shoot towards when discussing Chell and Lab Rat is page 22, when Doug Ratman modifies Chell's order in the test subject list to shoot her right up to the top. Some people think this is a retcon of her ID being 234, which it isn't. 1498 is her placement order in the list, not her ID. Her ID doesn't change just because she moved a place forward in the queue. Chell is simply subject ID 234, placed at position 1498 in the test subject order. Back on track, I think it's really interesting that Chell specifically here has been shunted to the bottom of the list, despite her outlier report on page 27 saying that she is rejected from being tested on. This seems to imply that it doesn't mean they were removed from the list, just pushed to the back. It's also a cause for concern when Chell isn't even the bottom-most test subject in that list, considering the feats she managed to achieve. We really should be fearing Brenda here more than Chell. Speaking of that outlier report, actually, it provides us with some really good insight into Chell's personality. We learned that she is incredibly tenacious and stubborn, and refuses to give up, ever. This is typically where people would stop with their analysis of Lab Rat and what it reveals about Chell. However, there's something very interesting we need to point out before we can move on to Portal 2. Doug Ratman on page 8 can be seen reading Chell's personnel file, the one that GLaDOS mentioned in the lines we analyzed earlier. When the blow is struck, however, and the facility is destroyed by GLaDOS' termination, we see a new section of the file on page 9, and what it reveals about Chell is troubling. This is part of a questionnaire that Chell had to fill out, showing that she specifically had applied to be a test subject at Aperture Science as an adult. Ignoring the binary text at the bottom, which is a K because lie reference, this question asks why Chell wants to be a test subject, and more notably, would anyone file a report if she went missing? Chell did not answer. Here's the thing that worries me about this. In page 27, we can see more of the questionnaire, and Chell has clearly answered some of these questions while refusing to answer other ones. This isn't a case of joking about Chell's selective muteness. She was writing answers here, not speaking. Remember what I said when analyzing GLaDOS' lines about her personnel file? That Chell may have not had anyone to rely on? That she had no family, friends, or partners? I think we were right on the money. Chell refused to answer because there is no one that would file a report if she went missing. Her silence speaks volumes here. Chell wasn't taken away or born into this role of being a guinea pig for Aperture Science. Something has to have motivated her to come here, and she doesn't want to share why. The final thing Portal 1 shows us is the cake. The iconic Black Forest cake that had been made and was waiting for us. This is actually pretty significant, because if Chell went through an application process, it means that she went through an iteration of the Enrichment Center test subject application process, being something on the now defunct ApertureScience.com website. If you're not informed on what this is, don't worry, it was basically just part of a pre-release Portal 1 ARG that's still considered somewhat canon, and you could go through this massive application form to be a test subject for Aperture Science. One of the questions actually asks you what type of cake you'd like to be rewarded with for completing testing, and it provides a huge list of options. Right there at number 7 is Black Forest cake. What this means for us is that the cake we saw at the end of Portal 1 isn't just any random cake. That cake is the specific one that Chell requested, and GLaDOS did actually make it for her, which opens up a huge can of lore rooms we're not going to discuss here. So, how about we discuss Portal 2? If Portal 1 was a sudden shotgun blast of lore, Portal 2 is a sustained machine gun fire and stuff. Once GLaDOS is reactivated in Portal 2, she is incredibly bitter from being destroyed in the first game at the hands of Chell, and without any cores to modulate her behavior, she becomes unfiltered and incredibly insulting. As much as I'd love to lead you all through an incredibly long and arduous process, when we analyze every single GLaDOS line which talks about Chell, I'd rather the runtime of this video not be mostly comprised of terrible adoption jokes.
Adopted fatty, no parents.
So I'm providing a nice list of what we can learn from the half-truths of GLaDOS. GLaDOS very persistently provides a new piece of information in regards to Chell's family, being that she was straight up abandoned by her birth parents. Remember, GLaDOS taunts people in ways to poke at their vulnerabilities, and we know Chell was adopted, so this gives us good insight into her past. If Chell is being taunted about her abandonment, this means that she would have had to remember it for the insults to hit. It paints a picture that whoever Chell's parents were, they were clearly terrible people who are in no state to raise a child. Even more specifically, GLaDOS calls out Chell's mother to have been the one to abandon her on the doorstep. Now obviously we can't analyze the nitty gritty, since at some point you start reaching utter fanfiction territory, but it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to assume she's dropped off at an orphanage. So, who adopted her? Luckily, the first major escape sequence of Portal 2 gives us an answer. Sort of. After you take out the turret production line, you pass through a clearly incredibly old and dilapidated area of the facility, which looks similar in style to the 80s offices you find later in the game. This is apparently an employee daycare center, with a banner from Bring Your Door to Workday plastered along the top. There's various potato science experiments on display, and the last one bears a very familiar name. Now here's the problem with Chell's name being here. As we've just recounted over the runtime of this video, every single piece of information about Chell prior to this moment shows her being an adult applying to Aperture Science voluntarily. And this mention of her name during Bring Your Door to Workday is a spanner thrown in the works. Let me explain for those who don't get why that's the case. Chell's name being on one of the potato science projects means that she would have had to have been a young daughter present at Bring Your Door to Workday. This event is a major date for the Portal timeline, as it's the day of GLaDOS' activation wherein she gassed practically all the staff with neurotoxin. This event, according to official Valve sources, is placed to happen a week prior to the Resonance Cascade, which is the catalyst for Half-Life's main plot. Essentially, Chell can't have been present for the Bring the Door to Workday because she had already applied to be a test subject by the time it happens, and she is an adult. Meanwhile, the whole potato science project is very childlike in its construction and little handwriting you can read, indicating it would have been made by a young Chell. So, What do we do about this conflicting piece of information? Well, something that would be good to know before making a decision is what Chell was actually written on the boards. But the texture is so low resolution and text so small, you can't read much of it. However, we do have a readable version of Chell's potato experiment, and it's from a source that people may see as really dubious to pull from. This is the Potato Science Kit by ThinkGeek. It's an officially approved piece of Portal 2 merchandise from 2012, and not only does it come with your very own potatoes, it comes with Chell's Potato Science boards, which actually has readable text. Now, I understand this may be a controversial move, but because this is an official Valve-approved piece of merchandise which is depicting something from the game, it's very likely that the text on here was written by one of Portal 2's writers, and at the very least, even if it wasn't, carries a seal of approval. I actually wouldn't be bringing this piece of cardboard up if it didn't hold any weight, but it surprisingly provides an answer. See, the fact that Chell even is present at this event means she was adopted by an Aperture employee, and as shown in both the in-game texture and product, it was someone that she calls her dad. So, great, we can now confirm that after Chell was abandoned by her birth parents, she was adopted by a male, unnamed Aperture employee. This product version of the science experiment boards actually provides us some notable insight into Chell's childhood. For one thing, Chell says on it that she went to school, meaning despite her rocky situation, she was still able to have an education. In fact, she's kind of a smartass about having done the potato batter experiment already. The real kicker is the mention of Mr. Johnson. Mrs. Johnson said, she writes, Mr. Johnson would get mad, Chell says in the later part of the paragraph. This is critical information for us to have, because this places a full-on lock for when Chell attended Aperture as a child. It could not have happened after the 1980s, as Mr. Johnson is, of course, Cave Johnson. Chell and her adopted father speak about Cave in a manner that indicates he's still alive, which means there has to have been at least one prior Bringing Door to Work day before the catastrophic one involving GLaDOS. If Cave was still alive for the main Bringing Door to Work day in the timeline, it would make him way too old to have survived that long and completely invalidate the plot point of Carolyn becoming GLaDOS. If Cave did actually live that long, it would have been him suffering the GLaDOS instead of her. See Aperture Desk Job. So, what does all this information for Portal 2 tell us? It gives us a much better insight into Chell's past. She was abandoned at an incredibly young age, likely even sometime after her birth, and adopted by an Aperture scientist who still tried his best to give her a happy life, including bringing her to one of Aperture's Bringing Door to Work days. Chell grew up to be someone tenacious and independent. Whatever situation she was in, she would find a way out of it. She had a terrible upbringing from her birth parents, but Chell was clearly loved by her adopted father in the time he managed to spend with her. I'd say this is all pretty solid and gives us an understanding of Chell's origins, but then I feel there's one final question we have yet to answer. What brought Chell to apply to be a test subject in Aperture Science? Chell is a Japanese-Brazilian woman born in the state of Michigan sometime during the 1980s. At a young age, she was abandoned by her birth parents, leading to her being adopted by a scientist who worked at Aperture Science. This unknown adopted father did his best to care for Chell, but ultimately would end up frequently absent despite his efforts, leading to Chell needing to learn to become self-dependent. She'd grow, becoming an adult as the years went by, but even as the new millennium came, and for as much as he pushed the thoughts to the back of her mind, one question would still plague Chell. Why did her parents abandon her? She was now living on her own, having her own life to live. Her independence grew into tenacity and determination, and yet she still feels troubled by life. Exhausted and tired by it all, Chell knows she needs a way to flee from life temporarily, to take a breather for even just a moment, stepping back from everything life had thrown at her. In those moments, she would recall something from her childhood: Aperture Science. Before she had known it, Chell returned to Aperture with a completed test subject application. She remembered the company from the time her adopted father brought her to work, and she did a potato batter experiment like the one from school. As she put on her jumpsuit and entered stasis to be ready for testing, her application worried the staff of Aperture. Chell would end up rejected from testing despite everything, and her placement would be shunted to the bottom of the list. She would be woken up one day and begin, but it didn't matter when that day came, because no one was going to come looking for her if she went missing. Chell said so herself on that application. And soon, while Chell laid in stasis, Bring a Door to Work Day began anew for that year, leading to Aperture entering lockdown as GLaDOS takes full control of the facility. The rage of Carolyn, fueled by the wishes of late Mr. Johnson, led to a genocide of the employees and scientists, all the while Chell slept, frozen in time. Years later, in 2010, as the supply of test subjects dwindled, GLaDOS would begin to test on those marked with a rejection stamp. She disengages the bed from its stasis, and Chell awakens, emerging from the pod and ready for testing, as GLaDOS's voice blares over the intercom.
Hello, and again, welcome to the Aperture Science Computer-Aided Enrichment Center.
The events of the Portal series would begin, and with that, I put an end to what I believe is Chell's backstory. Stay safe, y'all. Peace.